Thank you very much. I was sitting back listening to my bio thinking, that's not even me. I don't have that many years under my belt, but somehow I do. I think the gray hair shows it off. So thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you to the Canadian Sports Centre Pacific and Vancouver Sport Network. My pleasure to be here today. I would love to just really quickly get to know you a little bit, and it has to do with your knowledge, your awareness of sponsorship. So if I could bother you for a quick show of hands, just to indicate how much experience you might have with sponsorship. So if it's like about 5 years, put up your hand. That 10 years, right? You get the idea. If it's 0, just go like that. I'll get the idea. But I would love just a really quick show of hands to know what I'm working with here. All right. Good. Okay, so kind of a broad range of things. Okay. I missed yours, Brenda. What was that? That's good. That's the best one. I'll watch out for you later. That's really good because sponsorship is a very complex thing, and there are lots of different areas that I could stand up here and talk to you about today. But what I thought I might do is actually tell you a little story about how I got started in the sponsorship industry, and talk about how some of the lessons that I learned on my very, very first pitch stuck with me and helped shape the way I do business in sponsorship today. Sound good? Okay. So it all started way back when. You might know a little university, you might not, called Brandon University, tucked away in southwestern Manitoba. This was, not to date myself too badly here, but early 90s. And I had a pretty good first year at university. I had lots of fun. I probably drank too much beer, just like everyone else did there. When it came time for year 2, I wasn't too keen on paying tuition for some reason. I had a hard time parting with my hard-earned summer employment dollars. And so I scratched my head and said, well, how am I going to solve this problem? What could I do? I like sports. I like business. So I took the opportunity and I contacted the executive director at the athletics department at BU, introduced myself, said, nice to meet you. Here's what I'm thinking. The guy was really nice. His name was Tom Skinner. You may know him. I said, Tom, what would you think about an arrangement where I come in, I build you a sponsorship sport marketing model where you have a chance to earn some cash for the athletics department, and in return, you cover my tuition for the year. We talked about it for a little bit, but at the end of it, he said, yeah, let's do it. Don't mess anything up. So I said, okay, thanks for the vote of confidence. Very good. He gave me an office, and I actually remember it quite well. It was in the basement of the gym at BU. I think there's one office down there. It actually had, so it had a desk, had a phone, and it had a shower, because that's where the basketball referees would come and get changed, get ready for the game, and come back and have a shower afterwards. So there were a few awkward moments, I'll admit, down there, but it worked out pretty well. I don't need much. So with that, I got straight to work. And being pretty new at the game, I was about 20 minutes into my sponsorship career, give or take a few minutes at that point, and decided to get to work. So what I did was, I rolled up my sleeves and said, okay, what do I have to work with here? Looking at all the different assets that we had. So we had tickets, we had rink boards, we had program ads, we had, all the usual suspects. So, okay, great. I got to work making packages. And guess what I named those packages? Just guess. Wild guess. Sponsorship properties, but the levels themselves I called gold, silver, and you got it. You got it. Pure genius, right? So I built these terrific packages, and what did I do next? I sat down, and in those days, you have to remember, again, I'm not an antique here, but the internet was not what it was in the early 90s. So I couldn't just Google or Wikipedia or Facebook my way through prospecting, but I had a phone on my desk, and I had a Yellow Pages, and so what I did was a whole lot of homework with respect to who do I want to talk to? Who do I want to get meetings with? I started categorizing my prospects, putting them into different buckets for phone calls and visits, and started to generate a few thoughts about how I would approach these guys. Next, I looked at my list and said, okay, who's my first victim here? Who am I going to call upon? So I found one that sort of stuck out at me, and I thought, well, this is a slam dunk, right? It's university. Everyone loves this restaurant, whether it's first thing in the morning or late at night through the drive-thru after you've got the munchies. Any guesses? What's on the screen right behind me?
I cheated, I saw it.
Good for you. So it was McDonald's. Of course it was. And so I took the opportunity. I phoned the local owner-operator and got myself a meeting with him. Gracious enough to take my meeting. I went in to see him, and I remember it pretty well. I was sailing my way through the packages, you know, gold, silver, and bronzing him, and talking about all the great things that he would get, you know, if he cut us a check for, I think it was $15,000 or something like that. And so I'm going, you know, here's what you get: your rink boards and ads and some tickets. And he stopped me right there. And I was pretty new at the presentation game, let alone the sponsorship selling game. But I was thinking, okay, this is either really good news or really bad news. And this is exactly what he said to me. He said, with all due respect, I'm McDonald's. I don't need any more awareness. What I need to do is sell hamburgers. How are you going to help me sell more hamburgers? And it was, I don't actually know what happened at that time. I think I kind of blacked out and don't remember crawling out of his office or anything like that. But what I can tell you is that I learned a ton from that experience. And what I learned back then, it has really shaped and guided how I do business today. And a lot of the fundamentals from that meeting, even though it was an epic failure, I was able to learn from and take forward. And what I was able to do with that was take those learnings and apply them to what I'm doing today. So use those same learnings with major clients like Canada Games and Pan Am Games and the Olympics, and some of the clients that you heard in my introduction, Bell Canada, Petro-Canada, and if you're wondering, yes, even McDonald's. So it sort of came full circle on me. So I'd like to share with you some of the fundamentals, some of the lessons that I've learned. And I think I only have about 2 minutes left according to the clock, but I'll try to sail through them. So number one, sponsorship is not merely a simple ask for money. And I specifically remember that call, very new to the game. Again, this was 17 years ago. This was not yesterday. So I like to think I've learned a few more tricks of the trade between then and now. But one thing I was thinking about was, I got to ask this guy for $15,000. How am I going to do that? That's a lot of money. And, you know, I've got to try to sell him on this. So what I learned from that, obviously, is that true sponsorship is not merely an ask for money. I wish it were that simple, actually. Sponsorship is not charity. You're not a charity with your hand out looking for free money, unless, of course, you are a charity and actually looking for free money. You need to show them how you're not an expense. You're providing this particular sponsor with valuable things, with assets that may, hopefully, help him or her with their business, help them drive business results. So it's really important, just mindset going into this thing that, look, I'm not just there asking for their cash. I'm there to see if we can work out a win-win partnership situation. Yes, I would like a chunk of their money, but I will give them a chunk of assets in return, and we'd love to create this win-win together. So that's the first lesson. Number two is to create meaningful partnerships. You know, I went in there and I was armed with, you know, the usual suspects with tickets and rink boards and different things like that. But they're all good. They're great for exposure, and they definitely serve a purpose, but I wouldn't necessarily call them meaningful. So what I would challenge you with, and what I always challenge myself with in this regard, is to find real, meaningful opportunities for your sponsors to engage in your event. Get their products and services involved, obviously. Get their people involved. Find volunteer positions for them. Get them involved in the building of the event, the deployment of the event. Find unique ways to get them ingrained in your event and you'll have a true partner. And if it's an annual event, they'll want to come back the next year because they'll have had such a good time with you. So find meaningful ways to engage your partners. Number 3, do your research. Can't say enough about this one, and quite often, when I'm working on the brand side, I also do consulting with the brand side of the sponsorship puzzle. I'm often amazed at how little research is done when proposals end up on a prospect's desk. So I really, really encourage you, and it's so, I'll say easy, to do the research on the company, right? With the internet, anything is possible. You can find probably more than you ever wanted to find about the company, right? Who is their customer? Where are they spending right now? Are they currently investing in the arts, sports, the environment? Where are they spending their money? What's important to them? So find that stuff out. I'd even go so far as to say, find out a little bit about who you're meeting with. I wouldn't go so far as to say, well, I checked out those pictures of you on the beach with your family last weekend. Looks like a good time. I don't think I'd go that far, but good to know what this person might be interested in and how you might share a common background, and if it comes up, you're prepared for it. The other thing I'll say about research too is sort of a spin-off of this one is try to use qualitative data wherever you can. And the example I like to use is you're going in to pitch a bank, and you go in there, show them your gold, silver, bronze packages or whatever you have. And if you're able to go in and say this, Mr. Banker, Mrs. Banker, we've done some research just recently, and we discovered that about 80% of our audience have plans to renew their mortgage in the next 60 to 120 days. That's a pretty compelling statement right there. I guarantee you'll have that banker's attention. So find a way to incorporate qualitative data if you've got it. I'd also go so far as to say find that data, because it's well worth it. So when you're looking at it from their ends, you'll be amazed what you see. Next one, please. Be active in the selling process. This is a fairly obvious one, but I really encourage you to always be selling, always be networking, always be looking for opportunities. I think the biggest part about sponsorship is just keep talking about it, and opportunities will come. Networking events like this are great as well, because who knows where your next lead will come from. The biggest thing in this area that I'll share with you, sort of a biggest pet peeve as well, and biggest roadblock, is when I say be active, what I really want to scream at everyone is don't hide behind email. It's the biggest roadblock that you'll encounter. What I see a lot of times is, the sponsorship person in the organization builds this awesome package, awesome deck, and great levels, great things worked out. Spend a lot of time researching their prospects and targets, doing a lot of digging on getting email addresses and how they're going to send out these packages, and then they do, right? They send them out, 200, 300, 500 packages out the door through the email, and sit back and wait. Wait for their inboxes to be full with letters of acceptances and great news, right? Well, okay, 1 week goes by and you say, okay, well, if another week goes by, I'll send them another email. That'll get their attention. Doesn't happen. Doesn't work that way. And so I'd really encourage you to be active in the process. Pick up the phone this person, try to get a meeting. You don't want to pester these people, but you can't expect them to respond to your email and say, yes, I'm in. Here's my check. You don't even have to come in and see me. It's just in the mail. It doesn't happen that way. Sadly, it doesn't happen that way. So be active in the selling process. Last one, dive in. No toe dipping. Sort of similar to the last one, but I'll take it a step further and say, I really encourage you to take sponsorship seriously within your business model. It's, ironically, it's usually a pretty big portion of the revenue formula for an event. And you saw Jack's examples up on the board and done a tremendous job. clearly sponsors are a big part of his puzzle there, case in point. So I think that, you know, you really have to dive into it. You're either in the pool and you're wet, or you're not in the pool. Don't jump in, figure out a different way to do it, but crack the code on it. The other thing I would say on this point is make sure you have the right people, because sponsorship selling is not for everybody, and quite often it gets either sloughed off to the side of someone's desk, and it's, you know, the marketing manager, or the communications person, or an intern, or whoever, right? Whoever will take the job is in charge. And in some cases, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're hoping for here. So, you know, take sponsorship seriously, hire the right people, and if you already have the right people, keep them tuned up, right? Make sure that they're properly trained. Give them the resources that they need to be successful, and make sure that, you know, you're giving your organization the best possible chance. Sort of a last shameless plug for guys like me, sponsorship consultants, but that's another thing that you can do, right? If you're looking and it's, we can't hire a new person for this job, but, you know, this person could be great at it with a little coaching and a little help. Well, if you need someone to come in and shake up your organization or provide a little coaching to your existing staff, it's a great use of your cash, and you will get return on investment. So that's what I will say there. That's about it. I think that I'll just set you out with one challenge. So next time you're building a package or heading out for a pitch, please remember me and my McDonald's challenge. How are you going to help them sell more hamburgers? That's me. So I'm on Twitter. If you'd like to follow me, please do. Send me some tweets, and my website as well.